Greetings. In the previous video, I went over a heuristic evaluation, what it is, why it's important to conduct them, the process, and also introduced you to my heuristic evaluation template. In this video, what I want to do is I want to actually do a live heuristic evaluation and show you firsthand how this template is used. Let's get started. So again, first of all, you want to actually find the template, which you can again find at my personal website, jasonogle.com. There's a link there. You can also go to my shortcut, jasonogle.com/HE, or on Jakob Nielsen's website, uxtigers.com. There's a link inside of his 10 Heuristics Reimagined resource page there. So once you get to the template, you will make a copy. And again, you do need to be signed into your Gmail or Google account. But once you do that, you go and you make a copy here. Click that. And you'll see that you now have a copy of the heuristic evaluation template. And this is what activates the formulas that are inside of this template. And I'll go through this in a second here. But yeah, so here you are. And what you want to do, the first thing you want to do is go into this first tab and enter the project name that you're going to be evaluating. Today, I'm going to be evaluating dictionary.com and also related thesaurus.com. So what you do in here is just go in here and I'm just going to type dictionary.com. And I made a space here because I don't want it to turn into a link. But basically, the cool thing about this is that this is a formula that will populate your project name on all of these subsequent tabs here. So it's really cool. So once you've done that, then you can go ahead and go to your system or website, app, whatever it is that you're evaluating, and just kind of start going to work here. What we'll do here is we will go ahead and enter a keyword that we want a definition for, and then we can click search or enter. And then, whoop, what happened to my word? It just cleared it automatically for no reason known to me. So that to me is a user control and freedom issue. So yeah, it just went ahead and cleared it out completely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a screenshot here and I'm going to just do a quick annotation of kind of where the problem is. You know, we'll just go ahead and do that. And we'll just save that. And what we'll do is we'll go back here to, this is a user control and freedom issue. So I'm going to go ahead and enter my observation here. Keyword reset after clicking search. And so to me that, you know, it doesn't fail the system. So I'm going to say it passes, but I'm also going to say this is kind of a minor problem here. And you can see that's really neat. These are color coded. So if it's a major, it gets hotter, you know, with every severity. So that's really neat. So in this case, again, I'm going to say minor details. Normal pattern is to keep keyword in search until user resets. All right. So that will be our details. And then for notes, you can if you want, but you can say something like, we should keep user keywords from resetting on focus or whatever, right? Where does this happen? Well, it happens on the homepage. Screen. Okay, so this is where you want to go to your screenshot you just made, and you want to rename it to the heuristic. First of all, the heuristic is 3, so I usually do a 0 so that is easy to organize. And then this is my first observation. So I'm going to add a 0, 1 after a dash there. So again, there's our screenshot we just took. And then what you want to do is take this screenshot, and then you want to actually upload this somewhere to like a Dropbox or Google Drive, or even better, like a Confluence page if you have it, repository. And then what you can do is you can link that directly here. You can't really, and you shouldn't just, have the image in this cell because it's just going to blow it up. So just put a link to it in here. And then, is this a user research required issue? I don't think so, because it's really just a common pattern. You don't just automatically clear someone's keyword out after they've just searched for it. Right now, to dictionary's credit, in this case, the word you search for is not too far away, and it's pretty big here in like an H2 or H1. But still, it's just not good user experience pattern to just do that. Let's do this search again. Now what we can do is we can kind of scroll through here, and this whole website is a big violation of the minimalist design and aesthetic design. I mean, it's just, look at all the ads. It's just a mess, right? When you're just trying to get to content. But then you kind of find yourself scrolling here, and you get down to here, and then all of a sudden you keep scrolling and look at this giant, just blank space, right? Like that's a total minimalist, aesthetic design violation. So I'm going to actually get just to the top of there, and I'm going to take a screenshot of this, and I'm going to do a quick annotation, just because you're going to be cranking through these, and it's good to kind of try to remember what it was you're looking at. So we'll just do something like that. So let's just say our observation is just a huge, blank space between content toward bottom of page of result. And here I'd say like this fails for sure. And I'd say it's kind of major, like that's your brand, right? You're talking about, and it's a bad look. It looks very unprofessional. Right. We need to close up that huge gap. All right. And so again, this is on, let's see, I'm going to actually do a path of how I got there. Dictionary.com. There's our problem again so we'll do dictionary.com. Type in Gestalt. That's how you duplicate it. And then this is on the results page. Right. And again, here's where you would go and find your screenshot. And this is aesthetic and minimalist design. So we're going to call this 0801, since again, it's our number 8 heuristic, and it's the first observation, as we can see here. And these are numbered. This is really cool because when you add another one, it will automatically add a number here. So it's super helpful. And again, this is where we could do this at the end as well, since you already have a reference now of what this screenshot is attached to. Does this need research? I don't think so. Like, that is very obvious to anyone it's glaring, right, that it's a problem. This next one has been just a huge pain for me using this site, and it's not really something that is necessary, but certainly would make this experience way more seamless and reduce a ton of friction. And that's if you not only, again, going back to our other heuristic on control and freedom, not only not clearing this keyword out when it's typed, but what about allowing a quick pivot? right? I already know my definition here. You know, what would be nice is to see other related words, right? Using the thesaurus. So wouldn't it be great if I could just click this and not only not see an annoying ad, but to actually have this continue to be populated here and show me what the synonyms are, you know, for this word. It's just an annoying experience. And again, if, you know, we keep this word fixed here, we could easily toggle between these. I just don't understand why they haven't thought about this or figured it out by now. And this has been for years. It's been like this. So this is one of those scenarios where I would, you know, it's kind of hard to duplicate this or articulate it. But what I would do is I would just kind of do one of these things again. And, you know, just, I would make a reference to this, you know, like I would maybe circle this and then have like a, you know, an arrow that goes both ways. So I would do something like this to communicate that and to kind of remember what I'm trying to say there. And to me, the heuristic that this one is violating is this one here, flexibility and efficiency of use. So I would say would be much better UX to allow user to pivot between dictionary and thesaurus. Right? And I would say this, you know, it passes. It doesn't, the system doesn't fail. However, I think it's kind of I think this is borderline minor and major. You know, since it does work, I would say maybe it's a minor issue, but it would just be, this is more of a nice to have, right? So again, you can put your details here and your notes here and where this occurs. You know, it's really on, you know, search, you know, any page with search. And again, this is where you would go and do your, you would go ahead and name your image, which is, this is our first observation, flexibility and efficiency. Number 7, first observation. And you would just, you know, kind of repeat. And, you know, is this a user experience research required issue? You know, maybe. Let's go ahead and mark it as such. All right, so if we go to featured word of the day, and I just did this because this scenario only happens when you have an ad here. So look what happens here. I have to scroll down to the very bottom of all of this to actually toggle this. And again, this only happens when there's an ad here. They have some code here that makes this sticky, as you can tell. But when you have an ad, it pushes your interface all the way to the bottom of this. Now, how annoying is that, right? To have to go scroll all the way to the bottom if you want to toggle back or just go to a different date, for example. Okay, so now I'm on the 6th. But see, now it appears here without having to scroll the bottom. But again, if you happen to be one of the lucky cookies that like this, you got to go all the way to the bottom. That's annoying. That's a big problem. So I'd say, you know, let's go ahead and let's take a screenshot of this all the way at the bottom so we can articulate what's happening. So we'll go ahead and annotate this. Nearly catastrophic, depending on how important this area is to them. So we'll just kind of do something like this. All right. And then we can, you know, you can also use your text tool here if you really wanted to, and you could reinforce the problem. Have to scroll all the way down when ad is visible. You can always do that too. I typically don't, unless it's not being articulated clearly enough in the heuristic here. Let's go ahead and go back to our user control and freedom heuristic, which is our third one. And then what we'll do is we will go ahead and add this in. And I want you to also notice how the number will automatically appear after we add a second observation. Have to scroll all the way to bottom to change word of the day. See, there's our second observation. This fails. This is a failure. I'd say it's major. Need to evaluate ad placement as it's adversely affecting the UI. Okay, so, and you can add your notes, again, your page. This is on word of the day page. And again, as we know by now, we would go and we would make this our second observation inside of our user control and freedom heuristic. Let's do one more. This is one that I was just noticing as well. Thankfully, they allow you to manually type a date. However, if you happen to attempt to break this, which I obviously did for the sake of example, nothing happens, right? So there's a problem here where I'm not getting feedback from the system on this error. Right? So like this works fine, but if I even if I go into the future, nothing's happening. There's no feedback happening here. So they didn't take the time to, put some JavaScript in here to check on these values and to give some feedback to me as to why I'm not getting anything. Obviously, I know why I'm not, but, we got to think about our users here. Like they may be, just kind of in the midst of being busy and trying to get some results. And, we're not explaining to them why that's happening. So in this case, I would go ahead and take a screenshot of me doing this. And, in this case, you could actually do two screenshots. You do one where it's like notating that, and then you could do another one that shows what happens after, right? So then you have, in this case, I would actually post two links into my screenshot area. And I'll show you how I name that actually too. So this is the result of what happens. No error. We are not generating error messages when user manually changes year to irrelevant. Changes to irrelevant year. Something like that. I'd say that fails, and I'd say it's kind of a minor issue. And again, details, notes, the drill. Does it need UXR? Probably not. I mean, that's kind of a common pattern. Like we all want to know why something's not working. And so that's how you conduct a heuristic evaluation and using this template. What you do at the end is after you've completed your heuristic evaluation, you go to this totals tab and you'll notice that this has calculated all of our information here. It's calculated our passes, our fails. It's calculated our severity issues and even given a percentage to these, which is really helpful. Also, our UXR required issues. So there's one of these, and out of all 5 of these findings so far, these are our percentages. So this is super helpful. And again, at the end, what you can do is you can create a graphic like this. This is one that I did, and where I just have this simple format. This is a really small graphic, but it tells a pretty significant story, right? You've got your findings. Like I found 60 observations. There were 23 fails, 13 major issues, 3 requiring research. And you can see the severity here. And you can see this is helpful too, right? To generate like a pie graph. You can do this in Illustrator very simply on, give a quick snapshot of what you've found here. And again, this tells a story. This opens up the door to a meeting with stakeholders and engineers. You're not only uncovering some pretty significant problems, but you're actually demonstrating your expertise from a human factors perspective and advocating for the user and also getting folks rallying around fixing these problems. And one last thing that I'll mention, I didn't do this today, but what's really great is to actually find stuff and just give it a pass with a no problem. Like the things you see that are good, like it's great to call those out too. We're not just trying to be the, nitpicks here. We're not trying to point fingers. Like that's not what this is about. Like this is about like, hey, we all care about this software. We care about this system. We want our users to not only, use the software, but to actually enjoy it, right? Like our users will suffer through a bad UX if that's the only option they perceive, and they'll do it, right? So our goal as user experience designers is to reduce friction and help them achieve their goals, their tasks as quickly as possible, right? So that's a neat thing I want to call out here. It's nice to actually find good things about the system and call those out. Hey, thanks again for tuning in. I sincerely hope this has been incredibly helpful for you to see how this works. And I hope you grab a copy of this and use it now and in the future to make a difference where you're at. And again, continue to bring more visibility to UX in our discipline. I said this recently on LinkedIn that this is a process that's going to take AI years to be able to perfect. This has been and still is, and I think will for the foreseeable future be a human-led process. And so like that's a good thing to keep in mind as we, again, try to continue to stay indispensable in our work, in our discipline as UX practitioners. So again, follow me on LinkedIn. I'm always thinking about stuff like this and trying to add value there to our awesome design community. You can find me at jasonogle.com. And again, I'd love to hear about how you've used this and how you've achieved some wins. And a seat at the table even by doing this. So thanks again. Hope you're well. And, this is the beginning of 2024 that I'm recording this. And I just hope you have an incredible new year up ahead here. Thanks.